Hello, everybody. We are back and better than ever after a 3-week hiatus and a return from her safari. It is the 1 hour, 1 brain cell podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm trying to find the open. It's been 3 weeks. Here it is. Yes. Oh, yes, we are back, everybody. I know you missed us terribly while we were gone. It's a pleasure to be back. I am joined by my co-host Jordan, who now speaks fluent Portuguese.
That's so not true. Please don't ask me to. I'm now better at Spanish than I was before I left. No better at Portuguese now than I was when I left. I am joined by my fellow 4-time world champion, All Things Go Festival ticket loser, Richie Flores.
You have to start with that. We're supposed to be a silly show, and you just start us off on that note.
No, I have to throw it out there because I'm still angry about it.
Yes,
and this is a safe space. We can vent about that here.
Yes.
Honestly, like the best thing about taking a week or two off the podcast is that I come back and I forget just how much our intro music kind of slaps a little bit. And I don't know, I enjoy sitting through that. But it's like Act 2 of Hamilton when Daveed Diggs comes in with "What Did I Miss?" Like that's my return to the show after 2 weeks away. So we got to find the rhythm again.
It's very jazzy, very jazzy. Mm-hmm. So
I think it's the drums. I think it's the drums, really.
The drums. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad it's getting you back into the mood. Oh, my Wi-Fi's crap again. Oh no.
Well, it wouldn't be the show without you going into 480p, so it's not as bad as it has been.
This is stupid. All right, whatever. We'll continue on until it hopefully gets
whatever. Show's over. Welcome back. Goodbye.
And hope it gets better. All right. Well, we got a lot to talk about this week on the show. Mm-hmm. Jordan went on a safari. She saw some giraffes and some tigers and lions and some bears while on her safari. I think. Mm-hmm. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We do have some Formula One brain cell to get into and talk about. I have a one brain cell moment to get into. And we'll end the show by talking about why all pie is good pie. So plenty to come on this edition of the show. Lots to talk about. Will we do it in less than 1 hour? Probably not.
No. Hard no. Next question.
All right. Well, how was it seeing the lions and tigers and bears on your safari? Was it cool?
Oh my! It was really a fun adventure. It was a lot of travel, I will tell you that. And at the end, I managed to contract Spanish bronchitis. So just still on the tail end of that. But I'll tell you that like doing a 16-hour-ish travel day with like a viral illness, I would not wish that on anybody. Like obviously traveling back from somewhere is already way worse than going because you have nothing to look forward to. You're like, I'm going home. Or in our case, we had to both times we had to connect through Calgary, through the Canadian airport. If you've ever connected through Canadian customs, you know that it's an absolute nightmare. And so that's basically what we had to look forward to. It's like, not only do we have to do this, but we also have to go to Canada and then, get out of Canada. And we managed to do Canadian security wrong twice. I mean, not really wrong the first time, but I'll get into it. But anyway, it was horrifying. So there's a lot of travel involved, but once you get there, it's so much fun. And the travel between cities and between countries was like no sweat. Europe is awesome for having, rail and public transportation and train, and like a flight between countries was like 45 minutes, which is insane. Especially because it takes you like 10 hours to cross the state of Texas. Personal experience. And I did tell Richie, and I promised that I would not turn into one of the study abroad girlies that's like, well, when I was in Europe, like, I'm not going to do that. But
I knew it. I knew it.
I was asked to talk about this a little bit just to give us some filler for the show. But we really, and I went with my parents, which is also kind of a cool experience because now that I'm like old enough to do that kind of travel with them, you can really appreciate like that time with your family. And it was a new experience for all of us. Nobody had been to Spain or Portugal yet. There's a couple countries like they went to Italy when I was a kid that I haven't been, and they've gone to Greece and so stuff like that. But we went somewhere that nobody's been, so it was a fun experience for everybody because we didn't really know what to expect. But it was a good time.
That's good to know. I was very jealous the entire time because I've never been outside of the United States of America. So it would be always wanted to do it, but it's a little pricey, a little pricey. So I've been
A
stuck
little
in the
bit.
United States for 33 years in a row. But who knows? Maybe that will change at some point.
Hey, if you're gonna do it, don't go through Canada, or at least don't go through Calgary, because we literally almost missed our flight to to Barcelona. We literally almost missed our flight. It was technically an hour and a half layover from the time that we landed in Calgary to the time that our plane departed for Barcelona. If I have to mute myself in the middle of this, just know it's because I'm coughing. But we had an hour and 37 minutes ish. It probably took, I don't know, half an hour to get everybody off the plane. Like, you know how slow it is with people, deboarding or whatever. Horrifying, because everybody stands up and like goes to get their stuff out of the overhead and blocks the aisle. And you're like, just wait your turn and it'll go faster. So it probably took 30, 40 minutes to get everybody off the plane because it's this giant, like, 7, I don't know planes, 747, 787, whatever. It's a big plane. Takes a long time. So we all get off and we go. And the first mistake we made was going to the bathroom when we got off the plane, because half of the plane goes to the bathroom. Half the plane knows better and goes and gets in the customs and security line. And so my dad, who didn't go, is just standing there watching people like lap us that aren't going to the bathroom. He's just watching them go and get in line. And he's like, oh my God. And so we go get in line. We're literally still standing outside the checkpoint when there's like half an hour until our flight leaves, 20 minutes until our flight leaves. And like everybody's looking, and that's not boarding. That's when it leaves, right? So everybody's looking at their watches like, we are going to miss our flight. And then finally somebody comes out and starts like pre-checking passports, and they're handing us these pieces of paper that's like international transfer. And we're trying to go as fast as humanly possible. And like, I look up on the big board with all the flights that are departing, and it literally says like final call next to our flight. And it's 10 minutes. And we're literally still in line downstairs at Canadian Border Control. We're like, oh my God. So we finally get upstairs. We sprint to the gate. We're literally running through the airport. And everybody looks at you funny when you run through the airport. Just know that those people have places to be. Don't look at them funny. Just get out of the way. It's like, if you're on an out lap, you move. I am on a flyer right now. I'm trying to set my time. Get out of the way. So we're running through the airport. Nobody falls down. Nobody twists an ankle, whatever. But we literally pull up to the gate, like screeching stop as they're calling. They're like, final boarding, closing the door. We're like, please let us on. Like, I think they held it a little bit because they knew that there were so many international transfers coming. Because like they can do that. They don't like to, but they can. Anyway, we made it, but it was like the most cardio I've done ever. Maybe at least in several consistent months. So we made it, but we were really stressed out. And then after that, it was like no big deal. We were like pros at security, except that we managed to do Canadian customs wrong on the way back too. But we had more time. So it was fine because we could do it wrong and you get away with it. But it's like, oof. We started there.
Yeah, you were explaining that. I had war flashbacks to coming back home from the Super Bowl. In 2019. Yeah. I think I may have told you this before, but yeah, I was dumb and like it was the Monday after the Super Bowl, so everybody was leaving. And so I was like, all right, I'll do my normal, get there like hour and a half, 2 hours before. Terrible mistake. The security line was like, this was in Atlanta too, and I don't know if you've been to the Atlanta airport, but anyway, yeah. So
Mhm.
the line was just like, it was just ridiculous. It was dumb. It was silly. It was stupid. Took forever. And I was like, and I was doing the same thing. I was like watching my watch, and I was like, oh crap, this is taking forever. Am I going to actually make this stupid flight? And in the Atlanta airport, they had the little train system, right? That kind of
Yeah.
runs through
Yep.
the each thing. So like I had to
Mhm.
I got through security. I was like, oh crap! I had to hop on the damn thing, get the
Mhm.
thing, run up, back up the stairs to get through the into the main gates, and then run to my gate. And I was the last person to board my flight. And
Yeah.
and the funny thing, because I was the last person to get on, is like I ended up sitting actually like front row, which was really funny.
Yeah, nobody likes the front row well, I understand why, because like you can't put your bag under the seat if you sit in the front because you have the wall right there. But people don't like I think more people should sit in the front. We've yelled about this, is that you like to
Yes.
sit in the back. I like
Yeah,
to, yeah.
exactly.
Anyway,
So I was
yeah.
so I relate 100% to your story because it's happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to a lot of people having to run
Mhm.
through an airport. Um, so we've all done it. Did you watched? If I remember correctly, you logged something on Letterboxd while you were on the flight
I did,
to
yeah.
Europe. What did you?
I
What was
think
the
that's what
choice?
Letterboxd is made for, actually, is logging the movies that you watch on a plane. Um, no, I watched on the way because I had an extra dead leg because I had to go meet my parents in Phoenix. Um, so that first morning, by the way, that was also crazy because I had to get out of Indy and it was just post 500, and so there were still people leaving from that
Right.
weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and the lines were massive. Like, I've never seen it. You've been to this airport now, so you know it's tiny. Like, there's only
Mm-hmm.
an A side and a B side. There's
Mm-hmm.
one terminal. There's no train. There's no
Mm-hmm.
terminal 4, whatever it may be. But that was crazy, and it also felt like there was maybe not like first time flyers, but just like inexperienced flyers, like going through security and stuff like that. That it was just like kind of took a little extra time. Anyway, I watched on Southwest Anyone But You
Mm-hmm.
before I say it wrong. The one with Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney.
Mm-hmm.
Um I think I almost woke up the person in the middle seat next to me because I was laughing so hard at like a couple of parts. I had been waiting to see that one because it was like our dear friend Madam Web, it was paywalled on Netflix.
Yeah.
So I hadn't been able to watch it, but they had it free on the plane. I love that movie. That's such a stupid, silly, fun rom-com movie. I like got off the plane and I couldn't wait to tell my mom about it because I knew that she had seen it. I was like, "Mom, you know this part?" She's like, "Yes." So anyway, there was, I think, accidentally made Natasha Bedingfield the theme music for our trip because I had just watched that movie. It's super funny if you like it. And if you like the other Glenn Powell movie that I think we mentioned way back in our Valentine's Day episode, Set It Up, that was also a Netflix movie. If you liked that one, you'll like Anyone But You. It's just fun.
I haven't seen it yet, but apparently it's like the Glen Powell summer. So like I probably will
The
get around to watching it
Glenaissance.
eventually.
The Glenaissance.
The Glenaissance, yes, exactly.
We're gonna talk more about Glenn Powell later.
Hmm. Yes, exactly. Um, how long was the flight to go from North America
Mm,
to Spain or wherever you managed to
yeah,
land first?
because we went Phoenix to Calgary, which is not too bad, but then Calgary to Barcelona was like 9 and maybe 10 on the way back because like you get a headwind versus a tailwind one direction. It was long and it felt long. But it's really good for watching movies or catching up on stuff that you
Hmm.
like didn't that you haven't done because you have nothing else to do. They did have games on the plane as well, which was really funny. But my mom and I probably wasted like 2 hours playing a trivia game like on the way out. and they had like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and I watched on the way back. I watched the kid in front of me because you know how you could like see through the seats. I watched the kid in front of me get out on like the first or second question of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire consistently for like 10 minutes, and it was so entertaining. But like they were the fairly easy questions, but I was just watching over his shoulder being like, don't pick that one. Don't pick that one. It's like watching a movie over somebody's shoulder on the plane. It's infinitely more entertaining than your own, like even if it's the same movie. But there has to be a phenomenon for that, right? Have we figured that out yet?
No, I don't think so. I haven't. No.
But there is. Like, there has to be scientifically.
I do that once in a while too. I'll just because everybody's usually on their phones now, where you watch most of the thing, right? So you can just kind of like glance and see what people are watching. And once in a while, I'll look over and be like, "Oh, hey, I know that movie. It's a good movie." Or I'll do the opposite, which is like, just like in absolute fear that if there is a sex scene or nudity in whatever movie I may be watching, which is like, please don't. No, there are probably children or even adults around who are going to look over and be like, "What is that guy watching? Is he okay?"
You ever seen that video of that guy watching House of Gucci on the airplane?
I don't think so.
Oh my god. And then he just skips through the scene. Anyway, go look it up. It's probably on Twitter, but that's what I feel like every time. It's like somebody's gonna look over my shoulder. The fun one was that there was because if you've never been on an international flight, they have 3 rows of seating. So like on a normal airplane, you know how you have like 2 sides and then the aisle in between. There's 2 aisles because there's a middle section as well. So there's like a left, right, and then a middle. And so you can't see the far side from you, but you can see the people in the middle cluster. And there was a person in the middle that was watching The Nun 2. And so I was watching over her shoulder because I was trying to see if like she would get scared by anything that was happening. But either that lady was like stone cold or it really is as bad of a movie as I thought it was because she didn't flinch.
Did not choose to watch the first MF.
Yeah, no, that wasn't available, unfortunately. It would have made my mom watch it, but no, not available. And Madam Web was not available. We had Mean Girls on the way out, but it got removed on the way back because it was like past the month or whatever it may be. But yeah. Anyway, we got Renee Rapp in one direction.
Yes.
But not on the way back. So
all right, so quick recap. What was your like favorite thing? This is going to be like the inquisitorial part of the show where I just ask you questions for 35 minutes and then we can actually get to the rest of our discussion. But I'm generally curious.
I feel like I'm getting grilled. Like I'm a talk show guest.
Yeah, this is not. Yeah, this is like this is like an interrogation scene in a police movie.
It's like where were your whereabouts?
Pretty soon I'm gonna like turn the light on you over there.
I know you're gonna like swing a lamp down and be like, "Where were you? Where's Rachel?" No, we really liked. It's hard to say because Barcelona was where we started, and we really liked Barcelona, but it could have also just been because it was like the first thing. We were all really excited to get there. But every city was a little bit different. But I think as a whole, we really liked Barcelona and we really liked all of Portugal, but Lisbon and Sintra, which is like 30-40 minutes car from Lisbon, just out towards the coast. But I think we had a good time with that. And that was the last place we visited. So maybe you get the reverse of that, right? Where it's like you're trying to enjoy it because it's the last thing before you go home. But we had a lot of fun. We found some really, really good places to eat. We kind of tried to get into the local cuisine and stuff like that. Like we didn't go and find Burger King and eat at Burger King because we're American, you know. We were like, we want to try the local dishes. And some of it was really good and really awesome. I think in general, like we did a lot of sightseeing, but it was like the architecture and the culture, and like we did the Prado Museum in Madrid, R.I.P. Ava Silva. it was all really cool, and to see the influence of like the religion and the culture and things on the way that they made the buildings and in the art that they made and the things that they created at the time. It was, you could really kind of trace like the roots through that historically, and I think we all came away with more knowledge about the culture and history of both of those countries than maybe we expected to, which is a good thing about like immersing yourself in it, because then you're not like stupid American, don't care about other countries. We were like, no. We did the stupid things that we did, which is we could talk about this in Formula 1 Hour, Formula 1 Brain Cell, but I made my parents go to Carlos Sainz karting when we were in Madrid. That is wicked, by the way. They're like gas go-karts, like direct drive gas carts, right? So you have to brake and you'll straight up slide. Like it's no joke. Like you got to go fast. My poor mom got harassed by like these, just was getting tailgated and like run off the road by like, the other kids that were there essentially, because you don't know any better. So I felt bad about that. I was like, maybe I should have considered the fact that my mom isn't going to have the best time at this, but she was a trooper and she did it. But we had to put on like straight up the racing, like the flame retardant racing suits. And she's like, why did you have to put that on? And I was like, because the kart is gas. And if it lights on fire, there will be a fire. It's not an electric go-kart. So anyway, it was fun and it was cool, but it was, I would like to formally apologize to my mother for making her do that. And then we also saw Mamma Mia in Madrid, and it was entirely in Spanish. And worth noting, my dad has not seen the original, so he had no idea what was going on. Yeah, so we had to give him a little briefing beforehand. We're like, here's the gist. Just enjoy the music. Like, you like ABBA, right? Just enjoy the music. He's like, do we have to wait until the end for Dancing Queen? We're like, no, actually. He's like, okay, I'm in. It was actually really good, and I got some of it, but it's so hard because they even have to change the songs a little bit because they don't rhyme if you take them directly out of English and try and translate it. So there's a little bit of a, lost in translation thing with it, but I was just like sitting there like singing along in my head to English ABBA, and they were singing to Spanish ABBA, and Money, Money, Money slaps in Spanish.
Dinero.
Literally, but whatever they did to it hits. And I'm so sad that version doesn't exist somewhere, because I would straight up stream that. It's like good. And they did Waterloo in English at the end for some inexplicable reason, but it was like the encore of the encore, and they came back out in the sparkly jumpsuits and they were like, Waterloo. And afterward, I was like, why did they pick that one to do in English? My mom's like, they did a song in English? I was like, oh. So anyway, it was cool. It was a fun time.
That's dope. That's cool. Yeah, I saw you guys' pictures from that. I did not realize that they had done it in like full Spanish, which is pretty sick, actually. That's actually really cool.
Yeah. Entirely. It would have, what we didn't almost, but it was also playing at the same time, was the Phantom of the Opera. And I was like, I can't imagine taking my parents to Phantom of the Opera entirely in Spanish. Like, they would leave. They would walk out. Like, it's ABBA, you can like get that by. Yeah. Like, everybody loves ABBA. Like, it's just go and enjoy the music, whatever. Phantom of the Opera in Spanish it's for the truly hardened individuals. It's like, maybe not. Maybe next time.
That would have been a bridge too far. A bridge too far.
Definitely.
Bridge too far. That's cool. That's probably like, that is actually, first of all, I did not know that they had like a theater over there.
A theater. Yeah, they do. They have the theater.
Is it like, no, I'm assuming it wouldn't be like a Broadway type thing where like, or like the West End of London, right? Where you maybe have multiple theaters or whatnot. It's just like,
they do. No, they actually do. They actually do, because they had one that was playing Aladdin. They had one that was playing The Lion King. They had one that was doing Mamma Mia. Like, they're all different, but
yeah,
it wasn't on the same scale, but it was definitely like they had their own house. It wasn't like community theater, you know what I mean? Like, they had their own house and it was like dedicated to that production. So they had like sets and props and lights and everything. It wasn't like they just wheeled it in temporarily like each night and they change it out. Like, you could tell that they did set up in-house for it, and it stays there, and so they're able to build it out a little bit better. But yeah, it was super cool. I didn't know that either. My mom had sent it to me before we left and was like, hey, they're literally just about to close like a week before we get there. And we're like, darn. And then we looked it up when we got there, and I don't know if they extended it or whatever it was, but we looked it up. We were like, we should go because we're here and they're here. We should go see it. It's like, yeah, all right.
That's dope. That's dope.
Mm-hmm.
One last thing before we move on here. You got you came back with some swag, I saw. Unfortunately, couldn't wear it on the pod today because I'm assuming it's still in the dryer.
Yeah, you're actually not allowed to put it in the dryer because the patches will come off. But yeah, I walked out with a Portugal jersey. They had the, it was like how do I explain it? Because it wasn't like the Nike store, but it was like the Portugal store. And so they had for all of the local clubs. So they had like Benfica, they had Sporting, they had Porto, and then they had the national team. And so you could pick from a collection of stuff from all those clubs. And they were really nice because they had a bunch of patches and things, and they were like, you pick whatever you want, and like we'll put the patches on there for you. So I got the team kit for this year's Euro, and then they put like the Euros patch on it. And my dad got a t-shirt too. He liked it was like it's not a jersey material, but it was like more of like a cotton like t-shirt material that had the Portugal crest on it. And then he also got one of the patches put on the sleeve, and they were like, do you want a player put on it? I was like, no. It's like I can't commit. Like I'm not really in it for Cristiano Ronaldo, and I couldn't remember what number Diogo was.
He's a terrific footballer, not a very good individual from all
yeah, I mean, but like they had like a giant life-size wax figure of him like at the front of the store, and they just had a bunch of like posters of him and his like underwear model ads in the back. And I was like, what are we doing here? And then of course they had the whole section of like Ronaldo merchandise. I was like, I like him, but I'm not gonna like, get his kit exclusively. Like it's more about that I visited Portugal and had a good time than about me supporting Cristiano Ronaldo. So anyway, it was it was cool. They and they had the same kind of setup in Madrid. I don't know if anybody really follows soccer that much, but Real Madrid won the Champions League, and that match literally happened 2 days before we went to Madrid. And so the championship parade was literally the day before we got there. And so we missed it entirely, which like would have been fun to go to, but my goodness, the turnout in the city, like people breathe Real Madrid, and they were lining the streets and running alongside the bus. And like the police had, the horses and things that they were, the team bus traveled through the city, and they made a bunch of stops. And then they went to the stadium and did a big like celebration at the stadium. But it was just incredible. Like everyone turned out. Everybody in the whole city turned out to go and support Real Madrid, and it was pretty cool to watch because we got all the television content and stuff on it. But that was the day before we got there, and so everybody then was walking around in Real Madrid merch, and the stores were crushed and crowded, and it is what it is. But that was also interesting. Is like seeing that side of it where people genuinely care about their home club. It's like in the United States, nobody cares at all about MLS, really, like in general. But if you're in Europe and you have a home club, you live and breathe your home club, and it's so cool to see.
Exactly. And shout out to Real Madrid because they're just like, apparently they just added Kylian Mbappe for the next season. So
sure, might as well. It's like, we're good, but we could be better. Let's go get Mbappe.
Yeah.
What?
Unreal.
What?
Unreal.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Euros, by the way. As we're recording this, they are indeed underway. Some good matches have already taken place. I was watching today, whereas we're recording on Sunday, I was watching a little bit of the Slovenia match, believe it or not. Slovenia was playing they're playing Denmark, and Slovenia is not even ranked in the top 50 in the world in the FIFA rankings, and they got an equalizer with about 20 minutes left in the match, and they ended up getting the 1-1 draw. And in that game, which is insane. Denmark is, they're top. I think they're top 20 in the world, right? So like that was a heck of an upset, which is why we watch these tournaments. Is for stories.
It was like Albania
like
scoring first on Italy.
Yeah, that was unreal.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
Crazy. Or hearing the Dutch national anthem on Sundays
on
again.
Sunday. Fork
no
Fountain
race
Kitchen.
today.
Yep,
but we did Fork Fountain Kitchen. Yes. Yep. Good.
Shout out to Cody Gakpo, who scored in that game. The
Cody Gakpo
plays for Liverpool, of course.
Cody Gakpo.
And Virgil also as a Dutchman.
Of course,
proud
we
Dutchman.
love Virgil van Dijk. Good.
Anyway, I'm so excited because here's the thing: like the Stanley Cup final and the NBA final, trash, garbage, one-sided,
kind of boring,
completely unwatchable for the most part, right? But so those are going to end this week, and then once those end, we're like straight into soccer for the next month or so between the Euros and Copa America, and so it's like we get that for an entire month, and then we go from that straight in the Olympics for 2 weeks, and we go from the Olympics for 2 weeks, basically straight into training camp for the NFL in the preseason, and then we're into the NFL season. So
and throughout all of it, we still have Formula One.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Love it.
You didn't visit. That would have been super sick if you managed to time it right, so you could have gone to the Spanish GP. That would have been like really cool.
I know.
That would have been really dope. I don't know where the circuit is. I think aren't they gonna change it soon? Aren't they working on like a street circuit in the next couple seasons?
I'm not sure because it's not in Barcelona proper, even though it's called the Barcelona circuit. It's I think maybe 40 minutes, an hour outside the city by car. So we didn't see it and we couldn't go because I want to say no, that was in Portugal, but there was an F1 Academy thing happening in Portugal, which F1 doesn't race Portugal this year, or maybe even recently, but it used to be on the calendar, but it's not anymore. But yeah, we couldn't go, and we timed it a little bit wrong because it's the Spanish GP is next week. But
yes.
Anyway, that would have been sick. I was like, can we go? Can we just see it? And there wasn't anything to see.
Even just even just going to like a practice day or something would have been cool because I think in Spain that's when I think it's one of the like F2 F3 weekends too, so you would be able to get more support series with them. But my favorite thing about the Catalunya circuit is that it looks like that silly cat meme.
It does, and now I can't unsee it. But the Carlos Sainz circuit is kind of modeled on that, which is cool because you get like those big hooking turns in the corners and then the long straight and stuff like that. But yeah, it looks like that stupid black cat meme that I can't unsee. Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Now that we have finished Short Safari, no, and for the record, no giraffes were seen on the trip.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah. No wildlife.
No wildlife.
Dang it. What a terrible safari you had.
Actually, we did see some peacocks. I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, we'll count that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they were straight up those things scream. You know what I mean? It's like we decided that the life cycle and main priorities of a peacock is like find friend, get large, scream. And that's literally it. That's like you puff up and you get like the plumage and the feathers and stuff. It's like see friend, puff up, scream.
Right.
And that's pretty much how it went.
I don't know if you've been. There's a in Glendale here ish Glendale, kind of where anyway, there's a park out in here in Glendale. Don't remember what it's called, but when we were kids, we used to go there all the time, and it was very well known. We used to call it like Peacock Park at the time because it was like filled with peacocks all the time. So we used to like see peacocks all the time in this particular park in the city of Glendale here. I haven't been there in 15 years or something like that. Actually probably longer than that. But yeah, so I used to see peacocks all the time. So yeah, I used to. Yeah.
They're wild looking. If you like aren't expecting one and then they just like jump off or like quote fly, like if they jump down from something in front of you, it's like Batman. It's like so scary looking. the tail that goes behind them. You're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Let's see. We were just talking about Formula One, so let's hop into the Formula One hour, Formula One brain cell, real
Let's do it.
quickly, and talk about Canada.
Oof.
And
Chaos.
this was like a week ago, so it was very chaotic. It was a wet race and it was a dry race and shenanigans and Ferrari had a crap race. Truly wild. Anything that stood out to you that you would like to mention?
Well, I had to watch at least all of the pre-race coverage in Portuguese, so I wasn't entirely sure what was happening. And then as soon as the race started, they cut away because it was the European like parliamentary elections or whatever, and they straight up cut away and they were like, "Goodbye, go to Portuguese ESPN2 or whatever it was." And we're like, "We don't have that channel. It's a hotel." So then I had to get on my phone and find the stream real quick, but I was lost. Yeah, we really got to see the two sides of the Ferrari coin on that one. It was like Ferrari strategy. It's like, let's go on slick tires. Like, no. Haas started out a little ambitious. They were on the wet. They were on the wet tires, the full wet, and nobody else was. Everybody else was on inners. And so they were cruising. They were flying past the whole field because they had the most grip. But then those things like turn to chewing gum if you try and drive on them for a long period of time. And so then they had a giga pit stop. It was the whole deal, but it was total chaos. We had people spinning out all over the track because it was like wet and dry, like you said. And then nobody could figure out exactly what was going to happen with the forecast. And so it was like the sacrificial token of Pierre Gasly that he was like the first person to put the slick tires on. And they were like, let's all wait and see what happens to Pierre, and then we'll follow his lead if it looks like it's, fine. But everybody was kind of getting antsy about when to put the slick tires on, and Lando almost passed Max, and he had a reverse Miami safety car happen to him, and just go. Honestly, if you want to see what kind of shenanigans happened, like go watch it because it's entertaining. Like,
yeah.
It was an entertaining race.
It was like probably the most entertaining Formula One race I've watched in several years, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
because the competition was good.
This season, hands down, yeah.
The competition was good. There were 3 teams that had a chance to win that race legitimately, and we really didn't know who was going to win until that final stint. Really, right? It was basically between Max, Lando, and then either or one of the Mercedes. George Russell, because Toto Wolff is a jerk nozzle. But that's for
Focus,
another
George.
time.
Darth Toto.
So yeah, that's what makes Formula One exciting and really any racing series exciting is when you're into the final stint of a race and you do not know who's going to win, like legitimately do not know who's going to win. I thought the same thing about the Indy 500 was that way. It was neck and neck between Joseph Newgarden and Pato O'Ward and Alex Rossi and Scott Dixon, and all 4 of those guys could have won that race, and that ended up being one of the best finishes I can remember in Indy 500 history. That race happened after we recorded last time, so we didn't get a chance to talk about it. But
it did, yeah.
Anyway, so that's what happened with this Canadian GP. Was the same way. Like I legit had no idea who was going to win this race, and it just so happened that through the pit stop cycle, Max got past Lando because of a safety car and was able to kind of use that advantage and ended up hanging on and winning the race. Great race. Again, so good that Formula One is seemingly back into a competition like this where you have these teams are legit so close, and you could even add Ferrari in that too. They have their issues, but they've won 2 races this year too, and they're depending on the track, they're right there, and that's what makes Formula One exciting. So yes, Max is still got that big lead in the drivers' championship, and Red Bull still has a big lead in the constructors. But like, I think we're to the point now we're in every week to week. We like McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, like all these teams can still win. So very exciting. But let me rant for a second, okay? Can I rant?
Yes, please.
Do you know where I'm going with this? I think you know.
Maybe, I don't know. I've talked enough this episode, so just keep going.
Okay, good. Okay, good. And we're trying to save your voice a little bit here as you probably drink your lemon tea or whatever.
It's actually
For
just
the
water,
throat.
but no, I straight up lost it. Also, like the first day that this happened, I straight up had no voice. It was horrifying. Like I can't remember the last time that happened. It was like probably my freshman year of college at our first football game because we had been out all day like in the sun screaming and yelling and like whatever it was, and the next day woke up with no voice. That hasn't happened in like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, right.
It was miserable. I hated it.
Okay. So rest your voice for a second. Let me rant. Okay. If you've been listening to the show at all over the past several months, when we discussed Formula One brain cell, you know that I am a Lewis Hamilton fan. He's my favorite driver on the grid by far. On and off the track, just seems like an amazing dude. He was terrific on during his Hot Ones episode, and it was like crushed it. Checking out, smoking his.
I actually haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, check it out.
It
It's quite good. He gives some. He even shades Mercedes and Toto a little bit, which is even better.
Good.
All right. So here's the thing. So it's been a rough go for Mercedes pretty much all season. Really, the last 2 seasons, their car's been ass. And so poor Lewis has had to deal with this crap box machine of a race car for the last 2 seasons, despite winning 6 world championships with Mercedes in his time there. And
Lewis, we know the car is bad. Please drive it.
Finally got given a car worth of crap at a Canada GP. Was right up there in the running for the pole on Saturday. And for whatever reason, I don't know what Mercedes did. They flipped a switch. Was like, nope, cannot have Lewis be this quick. Can't do it. And he dropped to like 5th, I believe, in qualifying. Meanwhile, George Russell, loser, Toto clearly favors him now because since Lewis decided to leave and is going to Ferrari next year. So despite being a 6-time world champion and literally being the entirety of your race team for a decade now, they're just like, nah, you suck, Lewis. We're going to give all of our upgrades. We're going to give all of our favoritism to George freaking Russell. And so for whatever reason they did in qualifying, they flipped that damn switch, and George Russell is for whatever reason the fastest car in qualifying, and he gets a dead heat.
Not fastest, tied fastest.
Yes, dead heat in qualifying for the first time in like well over a decade. There was a dead heat. And because stupid ass rule, George Russell set the time first. He got the pole.
He also got a tow from Alex Albon down. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Lewis even mentioned that in his like little interview after qualifying. So George gets the damn pole. All right, whatever. Who cares? Silly, stupid. Okay. And then during the race, George Russell's terrible. He can't drive that freaking race car to save his life. His racecraft is bad. And he falls back. Lewis gets ahead of him. Lewis is in P3. He's going to get a podium for the first time this season. That's not a sprint. And for whatever reason, Mercedes is like, no, can't have that happen. We can't have that in our hands because our favorite, George Russell, we want him to get the podium over Lewis. And so they screw over Lewis on his tire strategy. They put him on the hards in the final stint. Bad decision. And then George gets past him in the final like 3 laps of the race, and Lewis can't get past him again. So Lewis ends up P4 despite deserving a podium with how great a drive he had coming from 5th up to 3rd. I was mad.
He really did drive a good race, and like that's I think the part that's the most irritating is like George had pole and then just made a couple big mistakes that cost him. Lando drove essentially a perfect race. Max drove a really good race. Lewis drove essentially a perfect race. Like, other than the strategy component, which I think McLaren maybe got a little bit wrong, having Lando drive the extra lap. Mercedes got a little bit wrong, having Lewis on the tire. But like, just all of that aside, the actual driving, there weren't any mistakes with the way that Lewis drove. But he just, his team kind of cashed it in for him.
George Russell should have gotten a penalty too.
Darth Toto. Yeah, that's true. Well, Lando probably should have got a penalty for unsafe rejoin too, and he didn't.
Yes, both of them. And they were just like, nah, we didn't see that happen.
Nah, we're not dealing with this.
Stupid FI. Whatever.
We're like, anyway, 5-second penalty for Ocon. Here you go. We're like, wait. Esteban's like, dude, I'm just here. They're like, anyway, 5-second penalty. It's like, whoa.
Also, real quick, one little bit of Formula One news from the week before we move on to
Mhm.
the FIA just changed their rules out of nowhere. I don't know if you saw.
Mhm.
Did you see this news this week? I think I may have sent it to
Yeah,
you.
the
Right? They just
Kimmy
like we're
news.
just like
Yeah.
the rule generally is you got to be 18 to like receive your license to race in Formula One, right? And then
I
all of a
mean,
sudden they were just like,
listen, that makes sense to me. It's like if you don't have a driver's
yes,
license, you probably shouldn't be racing a supercar, but okay.
yeah,
Sure.
exactly. But for whatever reason, this week they were just like, I don't know. Toto Wolff was probably running his mouth to the FIA, like, "Hey, listen, we have this 17-year-old kid. We want to get in a race car here. Can you change the rules for us?" And they
And
did.
he was being Darth Toto over there.
It's just stupid. Anyway, it's ridiculous. Like, I have large beef here, and can go into this forever. But a couple years ago, there was a lot of talk about a couple IndyCar drivers making the jump
Mhm.
over to Formula One. Forget which
Colton
team
Herta.
exactly. I think McLaren was trying to either get Marco Andretti or sorry, not Marco Andretti. Sorry, no Marco Andretti. Uh, Gosh, why can't I just he just flipped me. Anyway, they tried to get a couple drivers over there. Pato Award was one of them.
It was
Um,
it was Herta too, right? Colton Herta.
yes, Colton Herta. Thank you. I don't
Yeah.
know why I just forgot his name. Colton, and then they were just like, you know what? Nah, you don't have enough points to come over here and get your Formula One license. We can't allow you to come over here, and we don't make exceptions. And then all of us and all of a sudden they're just like, hey, there's this European kid. He's 17 years old, hasn't won crap in Formula 2. Let's just go ahead and give him a license so we can kick out the American kid at Williams. Stupid. Just poor Logan Sargent.
That's true. Yeah, that's one thing that we all united have in common is poor Logan because
Mm-hmm.
that he is doing his best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, poor guy.
All right. Thank you for letting me rant.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime, buddy. Anytime.
I get fired up sometimes. All right. Let's see. We got a few minutes left in the show. Let's see. What do we want to jump to next? We'll save my one brain cell for the last part. So,
Okay.
let's see. We'll kind of let's get into some little bit of movie discussion here. All pie is good pie, and then we'll addend
Movie
that to
discourse.
something else that I also have on the rundown that was
Okay.
discussed. So both you and I in the past week decided to partake in the Glenaissance.
The Glenaissance, yeah.
And check out Glenn Powell's new movie on Netflix. Where I did not realize it was on Netflix for the longest time. I thought it was like actually released in theaters. So I
Me
was like,
too.
oh, I kind of want to go see it in theaters. I'll check it out. And then I realized it was on Netflix, and I was like, oh, I'll just watch it at home. I don't have
Yeah.
Netflix, so I had to like.
I very genuinely thought that this was going to be paywalled. Like
Mhm.
I'm surprised that it's not based on the other stuff that has been. I was like, I'm for sure not going to be able to watch this with my silly ad plan. They were like, nope, here you go, have it. All right, sick.
So yeah, let me go to my Letterboxd here. We have a new name for this segment, kind of, that you came up with this week.
Sort of. I know we've been workshopping a name for it. We just haven't really settled on anything.
All right, we'll save that for when we officially come up with it. Okay,
Yeah,
so
we're between two ideas, but I think they're both good, so we just have to figure it out.
I like them both. All right, here we go. Let's pull it up here. Hitman. Okay, here we go.
Hitman.
Hitman. I gave it,
Based on a true story as well.
yeah, which I did not realize until like the credits
end.
rolled. And it was like, oh yeah, here's the guy. We just made up the murder part. Okay.
What do you mean there's a guy? Yeah.
I gave the movie 3.5 stars.
Mhm.
And my review is this movie is cat dad slander. Ego and id deserved better.
I knew you were going to have something to say about the cats.
Yes.
I truly did. From the minute I saw them on screen, I was like, oh, Richie's going to love this movie. And he's also going to have something to say about it. But important for maybe the first time in the history of the show and all of the time that I've had Letterboxd, we have a similar rating for this movie, which is crazy. I actually agree with something Richie did on Letterboxd. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars and just said all pie is good pie. But I was between 3.5 and 4. Like, I'll be honest with you. For the record, anyone but you got 4.5 from me. It was nearly a perfect 5. But minus the fact that it was like a little bit predictable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I love a predictable movie though, but like to get a 5 from me, you need to be Mamma Mia, you need to be Moulin Rouge, you need to be The Devil Wears Prada. You got to be a perfect film to get a 5 from me. Almost. That was a 4.5. This was a 4, maybe a 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked it. It was fun, and I watched it on a plane, so maybe that also adds like a half star.
So I enjoyed I liked the movie. It took a while for me to like. I liked the first little bit of it, and then the middle part, I was like, okay, this is kind of getting like derivative, and it's kind of the same thing over and over again. And then the ending got interesting, and so I was sitting at a 3 for like most of the movie. I was like, this is fine. And then the end was actually pretty decent. I liked it, despite making me angry. Justice for the cats.
Just cats, yeah.
And so I bumped it up to 3.5. So it was pretty good. And Glenn Powell was terrific in it. He was great. I loved all of his little silly characters he played in the movie.
He was really good. I saw one of the Letterboxd reviews that was like, my favorite Glenn Powell hitman was the one where he played Tilda Swinton, and it made me laugh. It's like unreal. Somebody was in there ranking all of them, and it was like number 1, Patrick Bateman. It was like, yeah. But like you could tell that's what they were going for.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My other favorite Letterboxd of the movie is just I like this one is just what happened to his cats.
Yeah. No, that tracks.
We need to know. They didn't tell us.
Yeah. Well, who knows? That's where the Glenaissance came from that we keep referring to, is that somebody put that in their review, and I really wish I would have thought of that first. But like reading the Letterboxd reviews is a good way to find out that you're not as funny as you think you are, because somebody out there will have come up with a better dang review quicker. Like, stop that. Let me have my thing.
Yeah, people are funny. People are great. I love going through reading.
People are really
as
funny,
we previously discussed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's the addendum to this, which brings me. I also saw Hereditary this week. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, back when it was in theaters, and like I think that was when I was working at the movie theater, so I got a free ticket to it. I would never have paid money for that movie. There were people that walked out of our showing. There were straight up people that walked out. They like saw I don't know, at some point, and then especially at the end, like nobody stayed for the end. It was the bit where like they were floating up the treehouse, and there were at least 3 or 4 people in the front of the theater that was just like, okay. I just like got up and evacuated. They were like, we don't need to see where this goes. Whatever.
Yeah. I tried really hard to figure out why people love that movie so much, because it's got really great reviews like everywhere. And I only gave it a rating that I did because I thought I was actually I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was really funny. It was like so many times I just sat there and just like cracked up. Because it was so like unseriously just like what is happening in this movie so many times. That's my review. I gave 3 stars. I said the most hilarious horror movie since Scary Movie. Like WTF was this movie?
Yeah, no, it's true. Out of the Ari Aster films, like especially the first 2, Midsommar clears Hereditary.
Midsommar was terrific. I love Midsommar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which he's like, what is his deal with cults, man? That man loves himself a cult.
Like, I guess so. Yeah. I don't know. He's like, well, right. I could probably make a cult out of this. Like, oh shoot, might as well give him another movie. Dang it. It's like, wait, I'm not done. I have another idea.
So this brings me to my addendum, because I brought this up with at the weekly Mellow Mushroom meeting of the friend group a couple weeks ago, and I just put it in the rundown because I wanted to mention it again, and I got made fun of. Oh no, this was because we went to go see him. I think this was actually like we went to go see a movie, which was, what movie was it? Did we go see? Hell, I can't even remember. Let's see. Furiosa. Yeah, we went to go see. No, it was not Furiosa. Sorry, it was not Furiosa. No, I saw that by myself.
I'm trying to see what's in your Letterboxd, because
I know. I'm like, what movie did I go see with other people? I don't remember.
Now I have Kat and Chris's rankings on everything, so I just get a double of whatever they're watching. It might have been Furiosa. That's the last thing you logged. It was right before I saw Anyone But You.
Okay, yeah, I can't remember if I did actually see that with people or not. I'm honestly trying to remember. I don't think I did because I'm pretty sure I saw it over here.
Scotty has it logged.
Anyway, yes, but I think they saw it without me. I'm pretty sure they did. So
All right.
anyway, I think this must have been at a Mellow Mushroom meeting, and we were talking about because I had seen went to go see Furiosa or whatever. Oh no. Maybe this is when we were talking about. Oh yes, okay. We were talking about the validity of AMC A List. That's what we were talking about. That yes. And we were
Okay.
trying to figure out if it was worth paying the money or not. And I was explaining, like, it's actually a really great deal if you're like me and you go and you never buy concessions. It's like $20 a month. You get to go see like 3 movies a week or something. It's like,
That's true. Yeah.
you know what's genius about this is like if you're like me and you just go see the movie and you don't pay for concessions, genius. And so it brought me to the discussion of like everybody thought I was crazy because I never buy, this, don't buy popcorn, usually don't buy a soda when I go to the movies. I just don't. They're way too over expensive, and I can drink after. I can wait 2 hours without hydrating.
I think I've yelled at you about this before because I used to work at a movie theater, and like that's where the theater makes its money. We don't get the box office cut.
Mm-hmm.
We get the concessions cut, and that's why it's expensive, is because that's what actually goes to the theater. So I'm like, fine, I'll have my fun little drink, because I don't really drink that much soda anyway, but I'm like, I'll have my fun little drink at the movie theaters and like a popcorn and feel better about helping cinema.
Yes.
Anyway, that's me. But no, I knew that was coming because you put that on the document and you were like, getting concessions at movies, ? I was like, we already know you don't like popcorn. We know.
Here's my beef with popcorn. In general, it is just like the worst food to possibly eat for like your teeth in a way, because like everything gets stuck, and I hate that. I'm just digging around trying to get these stupid kernels out of my teeth. I'm like, no, I don't like that. It takes away from the movie. It's distracting.
How much time do we have in this recording? Because I can't see.
We got plenty.
Okay, I was gonna give people the industry secret for how to make the best popcorn at a theater if we have time. It's real quick. So you get whatever they give you. Ideally the fresh batch if you can get it, because it just doesn't taste as good once it starts to get cold. But get one of those boxes, like ask if they have a box or a second bucket or whatever it may be, and you pour half of the popcorn into the box or the bucket, and then you season it as you want it. So like your butter, your salt, your popcorn seasoning, whatever it may be, you season that half, and you can like kind of shake the bucket or the box while you're doing that. So make sure everything is evenly coated. And then you can season your second half, because it's not all over full. Like that's the mistake everybody makes, is that they try and butter the popcorn with the full bucket, and then you can't shake it because it just falls off the top. So you have to pour out like half of it. And if you're really extra, what you can do, I'm not sure I recommend this over the box strategy, but if you absolutely can't dump anything out, take a straw, like one of the soda straws, and put it down inside the popcorn, and then pour the butter through the straw so that it gets down toward the bottom. Life hack.
Genius.
Thank you. Yep.
I'll keep that in mind next time I go to the theater and not buy popcorn. I'll tell my friends,
you're welcome.
Hey, Jordan gave me a good idea. This is what you do.
Yeah, and then they'll have their perfectly seasoned buttered popcorn, and they can eat it without you.
Yes. Yes, exactly. All right, 2 more things that we can kind of roll through pretty quickly.
Let's go.
Jordan and I have been rewatching Warrior Nun.
As usual, fork found in kitchen.
Yep. To as we approach Vatican coming up in February, I feel like it's a necessity to watch it multiple times. So yeah, I finished season 1 this week again.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about halfway through season 1 because I downloaded all of it to watch it on the plane, and then I only made it through about half because I found movies. But
and it's better the second time. This is my like first rewatch, and the show is better on the second time.
I think I might be on 4. Yeah. It's good. It's just as good. And it is fun now, having been to some of those places where they shot.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, this, I could see it. It is exactly like this. Yeah.
I got my OCS membership revoked because Jordan sent me a couple pictures from places, and I was
It's true.
like, wait a minute, I'm stupid. How did I not know those are
To be fair, I
scenes from the
think a
show?
lot of it was from season 2, so you're not
Yes.
quite there yet, but
Yeah, I haven't.
you'll get
Yeah.
it. You'll get it.
Because I think the first time I watched it was around the holidays last year. Because I think I had just finished watching it all the way through before you came and visited for the holidays last year.
I think I told you it was mandatory to finish before I came
Yes.
out so that we could
Yes.
recap it.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
here we are, like a year later, we're like, let's go to Vatican.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
can I get a costume? We're like, yes. Okay. Anyway,
I have Jordan knows what I'm
cancel.
planning on.
Yeah.
I'm planning on. It's great. I cannot wait.
Mhm.
It's fairly cheap, under $30. So
Yeah, we're fully sold on this endeavor. I'm just waiting until the extra gene kicks in for me someday soon and I decide what I'm doing, but I haven't decided yet.
we got time.
It
We got
depends. Like if there's a contest, that's going to require a different level of participation than if there's no contest and it's just like
right.
attendance, cuz like an attendant outfit, like just to walk around and do stuff with, is a very different experience because it has to be functional and it has to not be
Yes.
too hot. If
Right.
it's a contest item, you gotta go all out because you're trying to win. But
I'm gonna win that hands down. Peace be with you.
I would vote for you. Too far, but I would vote for you. Yeah.
All right. One last thing. One brain cell moment for me. I haven't shown you this picture yet, but
No, I'm excited.
Yeah. So I was driving this week, and
Red flag. Hot girls hit curbs.
Hot girls hit the curb, and I was on. Oh wait, did I not? Where is it? What did I do with it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Anyway, so I was driving on the I-10 this week, and I think you'll get the gist of where this is going once I get to it. So I was driving on the I-10 this week. I was driving behind like this flatbed truck that for whatever reason had like some sort of military vehicle on it, and I think I had that on my left-hand side. On my right-hand side, I also had another like 18-wheeler truck on my other side. So I was like driving between these two things. Both of those very well known for kicking up debris, obviously, right? So I think you know where this is going. I just heard a crack while I was driving. Have no idea what it was that hit me, but I just heard the sound, and then I immediately looked down to the lower left part of my windshield, and it immediately looked like this.
Oh. Oh man, that actually went through.
It dang near did go through. It didn't quite go through.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, for those of you listening, it's about nearly a baseball sized crack from something that hit my windshield. And if you look closely on my dash, there is glass on the inside of my dash. That's how quick this thing came at me, whatever it was. And so I'm currently working with my insurance to get that fixed. So I'm driving around with that baseball sized crack in my windshield right now. And it's really annoying. But yeah, so that happened to me this week. So people are like, what is this guy doing to his, why does this guy have did he just take a bat, like go full lemonade on his windshield?
Right. They were like, were you parked in the outfield of a softball game or something? Like, what did you do? No, I've never had as many windshields get victimized as I did living in Arizona. There's somehow all kinds of rocks and stuff on the freeway constantly that just get kicked up. My grandparents got hit by like a pipe one time. It was like a length of pipe that almost went through their windshield.
Mm-hmm.
It's like terrifying. It seems like that happens there a lot. I don't know. So far, like, and knock on wood, I guess, but like not so much so out here, but just that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you would have seen what it was so we could say what inflicted that damage. But
Yeah, I have no
you never know.
idea. No clue. Didn't even see anything coming. I just heard the noise. That was it.
Oh, man. Thanks.
But we
Thoughts and
survived.
prayers. Yeah, that's good.
We survive, so that's a good thing. All right, well, we're at 1 hour and 5 minutes, so we got through everything in a fairly quick manner, so that's good. Anything else before we wrap up?
No, I don't think I have anything. Just be aware if you should learn. If you're traveling to a foreign country, you should learn a little bit of the language just in case you have to buy Mucinex at a foreign pharmacy. Because I had to buy Portuguese Mucinex, and it was quite an endeavor. Just so we're clear, I didn't do a very good job of it, but we got it, and it was fine. But don't just learn how to ask for the check, because you never know when you might need it. Best advice.
Good advice, everybody. All right, for Jordan, I have been Richie. Thanks for listening to the show. One more time, make sure you follow us wherever you get your social media at OHOBC Pod. Jordan is back, so that means I don't get to post as many stupid ass memes.
You can still post it. You did a great job while I was gone, by the way. It was kind of entertaining to like tune in and see what you had reposted. Except that it was just box combo or your family. I was like, wait.
Box combo or your family, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we'll leave you with on this episode of the show. Goodbye.